It is a sign of spring. And no, I'm not talking about the snow melting or more daylight. We're talking about potholes and other road damage as a result of the long winters here in Manitoba. It is also this time of year that CAA Manitoba asks Manitobans to vote for the worst roads in the province. This year is the campaign's 14th year. Ewald Friesen is the Manager of Government and Community Relations for CAA Manitoba and joins me now via Zoom. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me, Ewald.
Thanks for having me again. Great to be here.
What is the Worst Roads in Manitoba campaign for folks who haven't heard of it before?
So the Worst Roads campaign is a product of what we know Manitobans are telling us. So we do quite a lot of research here at CAA, and what we learned in a recent survey was there's a lot of concern for the state of our roads and investments in infrastructure. 96% of our respondents said that they were concerned or very concerned with the state of our roads. 84% of Manitobans said that they're not being fixed in a timely way. And a bit shockingly, 61% said that the situation is actually getting worse. So we know that folks tend to take these concerns and they'll bring them to their colleagues or their coworkers or even, unfortunately, their partner or spouse, and sometimes their mechanic. So we decided to provide an opportunity for Manitobans to have their voice heard so that your friends here at CAA could take it to the folks who are in a position to make the necessary changes to help improve our roads.
So this is to highlight the conditions of roads right across Manitoba. This is the 14th year now that CAA Manitoba has done this. I'm curious to know, are there some roads some thoroughfares that CAA finds are repeat offenders here that people just continually to vote for year after year after year?
Yeah, we have examples from both camps. We have those usual suspects that we sometimes refer to them as, and then we have some success stories. The usual suspects that we see are Saskatchewan Avenue, Kenniston often comes up. Empress was a road that continuously came up. Grant Avenue. These are ones that we see a lot. Leela, those have been around for quite some time. However, there's been an interesting trend year over year. For instance, last year, our number one road was a rural road. And the year prior to that, 2023, our top three were all rural roads. So we know that there's something going on. We're very encouraged by the rural participation in our campaign. So when it comes to successes, last year's 18th Street in Brandon, wow, what a story. When we launched our top 10 worst roads, it was during question period at the Manitoba Legislature, and Premier Canoe got up and committed to fixing 18th Street. A couple months later, there was an announcement of funding, $9 million to fix it, and a couple months after that, shovels in the ground.
So we are seeing that some roads are getting repaired as a result of the survey.
Absolutely. And the same goes true, the same is true for Goulet here in St. Boniface. It had been one of those usual suspects who came onto our list, periodically. And then what happened was after our 2023 campaign, folks got to work. We saw a coordinated effort from two levels of government, both the city of Winnipeg and the province. And today, the residents of St. Boniface have a dedicated bike path, bump outs at the crosswalks, a resurfaced road. So we know folks are paying attention. We know the government is paying attention, but we can't do it without Manitoban support.
What kind of damage are we seeing on our roads this time of year? I mean, we talk about potholes. That's obviously the big one. But what else are we seeing there in terms of road conditions and damage out there?
That's right. Potholes, no, that's not, new to most Manitobans. That's our number one concern. But in addition to that, we see cracked or uneven road surfaces. We see broken curbs. We see sunken sewer grates. But our campaign is open to motorists, which is great, but it's also open to cyclists and pedestrians, which is worth noting. So some of the criteria for what constitutes a bad road could include things like poorly timed lights or crosswalk lights that don't work, or anything that might affect you on your bike. There's a lot of things you can select, or maybe your friends here at CAA are missing one and you'd like to add it. That's an option too.
What kind of damage are you seeing or hearing from people to their vehicles as a result of these conditions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the most common types of vehicle damage that we're experiencing are, of course, flat tires, bent or broken rims, suspension issues, and other primarily wheel related damages. The thing to note also on this question of vehicle damage, again from our statistic, we learned that 52% of Manitobans have experienced vehicle damage as a result of bad roads. What's more alarming than that is that 80% of those folks who have experienced vehicle damage are actually paying for it out of pocket rather than making a claim with MPI. And so, add it all together, how much are Manitobans paying out of pocket for vehicle damage as a result of bad roads? That number comes to $882. So, at a time when family budgets are stretched a little bit more than they have been historically, at a time when Manitobans are holding on to their cars a little longer than they usually would, a hit of $882 on the family budget is quite a lot. So, in many respects, road infrastructure and investment is an affordability issue.
So, Ewald, I have to ask you, why would you encourage Manitobans to take part in the survey from CAA Manitoba?
So we can't do it without you. We know it gets results. Year over year, we've seen governments prioritize roads that have been on our top 10 worst list. Moreover, anybody who enters our worst roads campaign is automatically entered to win a year worth of free gas. Who could say no to that? And it's a fun thing to do with your community. On that note, Peguis First Nation a couple of years ago, we noticed an interesting thing in the data that the road they were nominating, Provincial Road 224, it was making its way up the list, and we wondered what's going on. And then it occurred to us that there's folks getting together with their friends to vote up a road, and we were really impressed by this. So you can vote every day. You can tell your friends and, get onto the same road every day if you wish. And really let the decision makers know that we care about this and we'd like to see some action.
Ewald, I want to thank you so much for joining us today here on the show. Who would have thought a popularity contest for the worst road, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Voting does work. So let's. If you'd like to nominate a road, you can go to www.caworstroads.com.
Thank you very much, Ewald.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That is Ewald Friesen, the Manager of Government and Community Relations for CAA Manitoba. Again, you can vote for the worst road in Manitoba until April. I believe it's April 8th at caaworstroads.com.